Good evening. Sorry about the delay. I was having a bit of a glitch. Hopefully I've sorted it now. How is everybody? I'm back. Good to see you. Well, good to be with you. I hope you are. I hope you're out there. I hope you've had a fabulous week. Good to be back. Sorry I missed you last week, but I was on the telly box doing exciting things. And we're going to have a refresh tonight of that same collection. But tonight we also celebrate our fabulous stockists. Hi Sue, hope you're well. And I've got so many gorgeous samples, I can't begin to tell you. There's loads and they're gorgeous. Which just goes to show how versatile this collection is. I always feel when we get loads and loads of samples, the DT have really enjoyed it. They always do though, they always do. Oops. Oops. Oh dear, something weird's happening. Hi Kathleen. Oh, I don't know what's going on, honestly. Hello Jeremy. I hope you've had a good day. And we've got exciting things in the works, haven't we? Got a few bits and bobs I can talk about. Are you coming, Sue? Oh, that'll be amazing. Hi, Sharon. Yeah, very excited about tomorrow. Saturday, rather. I've lost a day somewhere. Saturday. It's Thursday today, isn't it? Yes. Oh, dear. Hi, Bethan. Hi, Wendy. Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday. I believe you've been roped in. It's going to be fab. Hi, Jackie. So yeah, we've got our demo day on Saturday. I'll tell you more about it once a few more peeps have jumped in. And then we can get having a look at this lovely collection. Oh, Sue! Well, I can tell you, at the end of January I'm going to be in Sheffield, if that's any good. I'll tell you more about that near the time. Yay, Kim! That'll be good fun. Can't wait. Hi, Michelle. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think because I really enjoy talking to people face to face as well. This is a bit weird because I feel like I'm just talking to myself. I know you're all there and that's lovely and we do appreciate your company. But for me, it feels like I'm talking to myself. It's a bit strange. Same as when I'm on the telly, that's like I'm talking to myself. Which is probably a good thing because if I could see how many people were watching, I'd probably freak out. So I do love the interaction, the face to face, and I absolutely love going out and doing the demo days. So hopefully over time I'll get to meet a lot more of you, and also get some new people joining us on our lives, which will be great. Hi Sue, hope you're okay. All right, so shall we get started then? So what I'm going to be talking about tonight is the beautiful new romance collection from Sue Wilson. It's all about the love and the hearts and all of that. But of course, as we've said before, hearts are not just for romance. Hearts come into play at Christmas. I've got heart decorations on my tree, or I will have. They're not up yet. The tree's up. That's about as far as we've got. Uh, Hi Yvonne, hi Portia. So yeah, hearts. They come in for all sorts of occasions, don't they? They're fantastic for obviously weddings, um, anniversaries, the I love yous and the Valentines and all of that. But they're great just for general thinking of yous and special occasions and all sorts of other things. So I think a heart is a bit like a flower. I think you can't go wrong really. It's a nice motif, isn't it? Oh, Kim, blimey, you're keen. Hi, Pam. Well, I hope you make it. I hope you get there in time. We'll have a cup of tea ready for you. But it will be amazing to see you, that's for sure. And then are you going to be stopping over one of the nights? Um, I hope so. Anyway, otherwise you're driving all day, aren't you? Yeah. Hi, Joyce. Yeah, sorry, I had a glitch at the beginning, so it may be that I wasn't there. I was only a couple of minutes late, but these things happen. So right, let's dive into this collection then, because it's a beauty. It really is. It went really well on Hobby Maker. People seem to love it. Did any of you get it? Confess. Did you give in? Did you cave in? Has it been put away for Santa? Let us know in the comments. Hi Kim, I know, I'm sorry, I was probably my fault, I was a bit late, things were happening. Um, oh right, well yeah, obviously question for Jamie. I'm sure there are. Right, I'm going to swap the cameras over and we'll have a look at this beautiful collection. Here we go. All right. So as I say, it does appear to be all about the love and romance. I have to say I do love the colouring on the packaging. It's really nice, isn't it? So we've 8 die sets here and a stencil. So obviously predominantly it's about hearts and love and romance and all of that. But don't just think of it as only for that time of year, perhaps the Valentine's, because as we've said, weddings, anniversaries and other such occasions, and also even Christmas, new babies, a heart is for all year round, I think, really. Um, oh, well done, Jackie, brilliant. So let's start with having a look at the different sets. I'm going to start with this lovely little one, which is called the Heart Wreath. So let me just pop these other ones to one side and we'll go through them bit by bit. Okay, so the Heart Wreath, it's quite a dinky little die. About 8 by 7.5 centimetres, something like that. So nice and petite. It has hearts which cut out, and let me show you what that's going to look like in reality. So we've got the little opened fretwork in the heart itself, and these are all the little hearts that have come out from that die cut. So you can use these to put back in a different colour if you want to do it that way. You can use them as confetti or scatter hearts or pop them in the envelope. Lots of other ways to use these. They're just really pretty. And this little wreath heart, I think you'll find, is more useful than you perhaps at first think. And the price for this one, retail, is $9.99. So check out your stockists. We have got this collection out with the stockists now, so do check out your local one and see whether they've got it or can get it, if they're willing to get it in stock for you. It's down to them to order it and get it in, and if you go and ask for it, then hopefully they will respond. Alright, so I've got loads and loads of samples tonight. I am going to try and show you them all, but I'm going to whiz through. I'm not going to spend so long talking about them. So let's get stuck in. So these are from Sue herself, and you can see how that repetition of that little motif is really gorgeous, isn't it? And she's done some beautiful, beautiful cards. This one is a large format, rectangular. I think you could frame that. It's absolutely stunning. 3 repeated and then 2 that it's sort of woven with this strip running through the middle, which is a really clever idea. And here's another similar one, again with that triple repetition. That's cut in black, the hearts put back in the coconut white, and the whole thing set onto red. The whole thing is actually flat, So what she's done is cut it out of the red, then cut it out of black and put it back in, then cut it out of white and put all the hearts back in. So a labour of love, but really beautiful. And then obviously we've got some from our fabulous design team. This one's from Wendy, who's with us tonight, so say hi to Wendy, everybody. And she's done a Christmas card with a heart, and why not? They do come in for Christmas, don't they? Also, it shows how even a small motif can still feature on a larger card, but also you have the option of doing small cards, which is fabulous. Here we've got that triple repetition again going across the diagonal, and this one is another one from Wendy, bringing in all those little scatter hearts. That's lovely, isn't it? And I love the two-tone of that as well. That's really clever. This one's quite different. This is going smaller, and we're going blue and white this time. So we've got the big word love that's coming up. Talk to you a bit more about that, and bringing in some of the nesting dies as well. And this one I'm showing you because it actually combines one of the other die sets, the lacy heart, stained glass heart. But look how beautifully that little heart wreath nests on top of that. And you'll find that with all these collections, that they nest beautifully together, so you can mix and match across the sets. Also bringing in here the swirls and the heart background, which again is coming up very soon. Now I did say, obviously, with it being quite a small motif, you can go dinky, and I love this one. This one's from Ian, and he's just simply cut it in white and then cut it again in the red mirror and popped the red hearts back in and mounted it all on a white card. Very delicate, very pretty. And then we've got this one, which has been turned into a little shaker. You've got all little hearts going on behind there. This one's from Christine, our Princess of A6, and she does these lovely little cards, but she manages to get such a lot of detail onto them without them looking cluttered and, you know, just throwing things at it for the sake of it, what I call a pizza card. But this has got the flourishes on there, we've got one of the sentiments, and we've got this little heart suspended back in its own aperture with the acetate put at the back to support it. Can you see that? And then the little heart confetti inside there. So that's our little heart wreath, and as I say, that one is retailing for $9.99. A little bargain, I think, to be had. Alright, let's move on and have a look at the geometric parts. I love this set. It grew on me. The more I worked with it, the more I fell in love with it. So just let me get myself organised. I'm all discombobulated tonight. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I won't go into details. Right. So these are the geometric hearts. And this is a 10 die set, and they're decent size. This is a similar size to the heart wreath we've just looked at. And then we have a slightly smaller one, and these two options with little hearts for scattering hearts and etc. as well. So this one is, the largest is nearly 8 centimetres and the smallest is 1.2, but by smallest we're talking about this one here. So you've everything in between. So let me show you what this looks like when it's cut and in action. So we have lots of options with this die set. As with any multiple die set, each of these, you've 3 dies. The centre one doesn't have a cutting edge, so when you cut it into the card, it will just give you this, and you can surround it with however much card you want. Then you've got the cutting edge here for the heart, the single cutting edge, same in this set. So if you use those on their own, they're going to give you a solid heart. Okay, then you've got the fancy cutting edge with the loopy edge here. If you cut that on its own, it'll give you this shape, and that's the slightly smaller one. Then when you start to combine them, that's when you see the magic. So this one is created by using the plain heart edge and the outside fancy edge, and that gives you this beautiful delicate frame. It reminds me of a gold locket. I don't know why, but it does. If you then cut the fancy panel with that cutting edge, then that will give you the standalone hearts in the 2 sizes. And then these solid hearts, these 2 are what come out of the middle of here, and these are the ones that are single hearts on the set here. So lots and lots going on, and obviously a lot more options than it first appears, and a lot more than I've shown here as well, because once you start to stack them, create apertures, sink them behind, all of those things that we keep talking about, then you can see the possibilities are quite vast. So this one is going to retail for $13.99. Again, track it down at your fabulous local stockists and see what they can do for you. Right, moving on to our flourishes. So these are very pretty and delicate. You get 2 in the pack, left and right. They are 4.6 by 8.6 centimetres, so they're quite sizable. They look a lot bigger than they do obviously on the picture on the front. That's something you always need to bear in mind. And these are gorgeous for anything. I mean, yes, with the hearts, they have got little heart details on the ends of the little curly bits, but these are going to be great to tuck into floral arrangements, to enhance a corner, anything like that. So I'll show you some examples. I'll just show you what they look like when they're cut. So these are the positive cutouts, and I've just put these on here to show you that they also leave a beautiful negative cutout that you can then put something behind. And actually one of my demos is going to show that. So let's have a look at some examples of these. I don't have a huge amount because they are featured on a lot of the samples anyway. So keep an eye out for them popping up. But here's a lovely one from Wendy, and she's combined the flourishes with the big word love, and she's done some cutout hearts using the various sizes of plain hearts that are available throughout the sets. And then behind that we've got the stencil coming into play as well, which is gorgeous. And I love the colour palette on this. It's like custard and cream. Beautiful. Really delicate. So another one, this one's from Sue. Now she's used the flourish here just as a kind of extra embellishment, and that's something you can certainly do. And then we've got the big word. This is coming up again shortly, and she's used that behind its own aperture to sink behind, which is really lovely. Here's one from Ian. Again, he's making a bit of a signature thing of his black, red and gold. Isn't it striking though? It's beautiful. And I love how he's used the flourishes here to create an all over background, and then just a single heart in the middle there to set them off. Beautiful. Then we've got this one, and again using those flourishes to weave in and out of the letters is really clever. I love that. They go sort of diagonal across that DL card. Very nice indeed. So those are your swirls. You get 2 in the pack, and they are $9.99 for the 2. Next we're going to have a look at the background, which is this one here. This is a beautiful die, sizable, and we do have a lot of samples for this one. So let's have a look. So this one is 12.1 by 15.9 centimeters. So as you can see, quite a big die. 2 dies in the set. You've got your outside cutting edge, your inside fancy panel, and those options mean that if you cut it without its outside cutting edge, it will leave the pattern in the card. You can then make your borders as big as you like, cut it with one of the nesting dies, or put a frame around it, something like that. If you cut it with its own cutting edge, this is what you'll get. So you'll always get this finite shape and size when you use its outside cutting edge. If you cut the cutting edge on its own, you'll have a plain panel that you can set behind this or behind this one in a different colour, in a contrast, or you can put your double-sided adhesive and put glitter through, all of those things with a die like this, so it's got lots of holes in it that you can fill with goodies. So I really like dies like this. So although there are only 2 dies, you still do have quite a bit of options, quite a few options, should I say, and lots of possibilities. So here's one I did on, when did I do that? On my last live 2 weeks ago, goodness me. This was using double-sided adhesive and putting the gemstones glitters through there. Here's one that Sue did using triple cut of the actual die, which is fab, giving this fabulous shadow effect. We've got the ribbon coming into play that is recently back in stock, back in trend, which is lovely. Whole background created with strips of ribbon and then that lovely die put over the top. Here's another dinky one. Now this one's clever because what's happened here, we've got the die and it's been used to emboss. You've seen me do this lots of times, and then some of the hearts have been cut as well from a separate colour and added over the correct spaces, and then some have been doodled on. So really clever, I love it. This one's fab too, showing how you can stack the hearts. Here's one with multiple colours putting through those apertures, and again cutting it several times out of cardstock and then adding the hearts back in. And here's a beautiful one, just a subtle drop shadow of black behind the coconut white and then a mix of the beautiful gilding flakes. Isn't that stunning? Gorgeous. And it really looks as though those hearts are raised, but they're not, they're actually sunk behind. Optical illusion. Here's one bringing in the lovely hot air balloon from an older collection, and that's again something we can do, isn't it, with all of Jamie's collections and with Sue's. We can mix and match old and new, which is always great. And here's a stunning one done with gloss white card. So she's cut the background, this is Sue who's done this, she's cut the background in coconut white, then she's cut it again in gloss white several times, and then stacked up all of those hearts. Isn't that just beautiful? Absolutely stunning. And here finally from our lovely Wendy, we've got this one bringing in enchanted sprinkles, texture paste, the lovely little heart leaf flower which we had available on Hobby Maker, and some of you stockists have probably got it as well if you like that one. It is a delicate little flower, but I love the leaves, and I love the colours of this. It's very summery, very beautiful. So that is your heart background. It's a bigger die and it's a 2 die set, and that one retails for $16.99. So again, go and track this down if you fancy that. Go and badger your stockists and say, listen here, I need this die. I'm sure they'll help you out. Alright, next we're going to move on to, what are we going to move on to? Yes, this one. The lacy stained glass heart. This is a beauty. It's got 3 dies again, so you've got a fancy inner panel that doesn't have a full cutting edge, then you've got a solid heart with a cutting edge, and then you've got the lacy edge. This one cuts so many different ways. I left my cutouts loose so I could show you how they interact, because I know sometimes it's hard to get your head around dies like this. I have a friend who says to me, Gwen, I don't get it. I can't get my head around these multi-die sets and what you do with them. So I think it's nice to actually show you just what you can do. So these are just a few of the things I created when I got going with this one. I don't know why I've got 2 of those. I don't need 2. All of these are come from just 3 dies in that set. So let me run you through what we're talking about. Again, we've got the outer edge. If you use that on its own, it will give you this solid lacy heart. Okay, if you cut the outer lacy edge and then that cutting edge that's in there, that heart, this solid line here is the cutting edge that's going to give you a solid heart. But if you use that and the lacy edge together, then you're going to get this beautiful frame. So that's where that's come from. Okay. When you cut the inner bit just on its own, it's going to give you this lovely lacy filigree kind of panel. Okay. When you cut that with the edge, the next one, it gives you a lacy heart. Okay. Then obviously you get the aperture that the hearts come out of. You get the aperture that the lacy heart came out of. They're great because it means you can start building things into them. So we can pop this one back in here. We can pop this over this and have it perhaps raised. Obviously you need that to be a bit bigger than mine is. But you can lift that up. You could put acetate across that, make that into a shaker box. You can make this into a shaker box. You can put the heart frame around this and have it as a different layer. Or what about putting that back in there? No, maybe in a different colour. But even though we can create that same look by cutting the outside edge and just the middle bit and leaving out that cutting edge, that's what we would get. That you might think is the same, but actually it looks different because there is that split. So you've got the line where it's cut. And this one gives you the opportunity to put them at different levels, put different things behind them, lift that one up. Entirely up to you how you go about it. This heart is going to come in useful because you can use it as a solid back to this. This is what we call a backing plate. And then that could be in a contrasting colour. You can also use it behind this as a contrasting colour. So, as I say, loads and loads of options with this one. It's a beautiful die set, very elegant and full of potential. So let me show you some inspiration with this one just quickly because I have got literally dozens of samples for this one. Let me just find some for you. Okay. So I'm going to whiz through. This one from Wendy, raised up the frame and sunk in the middle panel. This one from Sharon, gorgeous in the black and white, and some mirror card going on there. This one from Ian, just a simple inked panel, I think possibly sprays, and then the lacy panel, and he's used the surrounding edge and he's snipped off all the spiky bits and he's brought in the flourishes. This one, gorgeous in lilac and a bit of sparkle going on there. Again, bringing in the flourishes as well. Again, bringing in the lovely little heart wreath and some sprays. How about that for a stunning wedding card? And here we have one all in the pinks and reds, which is very striking again. A gorgeous one here, perfect for Valentine, again from Ian in the black and red. A lovely dinky little card here, using that inner panel and the aperture that the heart creates, putting them back together and raising those up. This one uses the aperture with the lacy edge and putting the lacy heart back in the middle. And again, you can see those flourishes coming into play. And finally this one from Sue herself, bringing in the lacy edge, the flourishes, the filigree centre, a sentiment, all sorts. It's beautiful, isn't it? If you keep your colours simple, then you can make that work with all that detail. So it's not always about, you know, throwing everything at it. It needs to be in a controlled way. So stick to 2 or 3 colours and then bring in texture, bring in little elements. Everything works together. It's so beautiful. I did have, as I say, loads of samples for this particular one. If you haven't seen them all, they are on the website. If you go to Creative Expressions and have a look for this collection, you'll be able to look at all the samples to your heart's content. Right, what haven't we looked at? Oh, the big word. The big words. The word love. This is a clever set. And we've also got the two little sentiments. Did I tell you how much that was, that lacy heart? I don't think I did I? So it's $14.99, this one. Okay. This one, the big love, is $5.99, and our two sentiments from the heart and just for you are each $4.99. So these are beautiful, flourishy, small sentiments, and they're quite easy to snip up, so you can reconfigure the phrase, so you can have them vertical or you can have them stepped. It's entirely up to you. This one is a 2-die set, and again, because of that, you've got lots of options. So when you use just the outer edge, it will give you the shadow backdrop, which is behind these letters here. The letters are all cut out independently, so you've got LOVE, and each of them has a gorgeous little embossed detail to them. Can you see that? So you have got lips, hearts, Cupid's arrows, and kisses. Just attention to detail, it's gorgeous, isn't it? So when you cut the outer shape, the cutting edge here, it gives you the solid shadow, and it also gives you this aperture, which is great to put the letters back in. So that's two things. Then you've got the apertures that are left when you cut the letters out. Do remember to keep the middle out of your O though, if you're going to do that. You've got the individual letters, obviously, that cut. They've come out of here. And then when you cut the two dies at the same time, you will actually get this frame and the letters. And you can use that, just keep the O middle, and then you can create that kind of effect. So that's your big love word, and that one is retailing for $5.99. Now that has featured on a lot of the samples already, but I do have some which show it off particularly well. So let's have a quick scoot through those. And of course these two beauty ones, these being $4.99 each, these are featured on a lot of the samples as well. So very usable, really nice sentiments. So here's a gorgeous one from Sue, done in sparkle. Very graphic, very modern, repeat die cut. And we've got 5 of the words. This one brought out in the bright red to make it stand out. We don't have to go huge, look, we can do a small DL shaped card. Here's one bringing in a lot of elements from this collection. So we've got the lacy heart, the geometric heart, the big love, the flourishes. We've got a heart background in there, embossed. We can go dinky. I mean, when you compare that card to this card, it's almost the same principle. The word's repeated, but it does fit onto a dinky card. So don't think you've always got to go big. You don't at all. These little ones are from Christine. She's used the lovely aperture and put the black letters back in there. This one, she's raised them up on top of the shadow backdrop. Here, I love this. This one's from Sharon, and she's put the love in front of that lacy heart centre. Another lovely little one with sparkle going through the letters. This one's got some of the Crafty Concoctions special mixes in there through the heart background, and then the love on the front as well. And the other thing, because these letters are independent when they're cut, you can do it vertically, horizontally, diagonally, however you like. So that gives you loads and loads of options. And I do like this one as well. This diagonal cut across the card is lovely with the red glitter and those lovely flourishes just waving down the edge, and the big word, and love you to the moon and back. How gorgeous. Who wouldn't love to receive that? Sharing all the love. Like it. So that's your big love. So the only one I haven't really talked about is the stencil. A beautiful 8x8 deep mylar stencil, as they all are now. even the woodware, the new woodware stencils are coming in the deeper mylar. We're reconfiguring all of those as they come back in stock. So it gives you great depth for embossing with and for using pastes through, while still being able to use them as a traditional stencil as well. So win-win. Again, just because you're faced with an 8x8 stencil does not mean you have to use it as an 8x8 stencil. And here's an example of that in action on a lovely little A6 card from Christine. And she's used crafty concoctions through that stencil, texture paste mixed with the inks and the sparkly glitters, and then one of the geo hearts stacked up with some of the plain hearts as well. Isn't that stunning? Here's a gorgeous inky one. This is from Ian. That lovely heart stencil running all through the background in that gorgeous lilac, and then bringing in the lacy heart centre, the flourishes and some flowers just to finish that off. Beautiful. Here's one with full-on red glitter paste through that stencil. This one's Ian again. The geo heart stacked up in the centre with all of its elements there. So really stunning. Okay, so that's your beautiful 8x8 stencil, and it has featured on some of the other cards, but it, you know, it's sort of in the background, isn't it? So I've got another one as well. Let me drag these out. There we go. That's a nice little inky one with blended ink, and I love that this is Christine again. She's used the stencil and then dropped it, moved it half a row and done it in a contrasting colour. I think that's super. And just torn the edges, bit of ribbon, a couple of sentiments. Job's a good one. So there you go. That's your stencil at £6.99, an absolute steal, and something I think you'll reach for time and time again. Sometimes we just need a little bit of something in the background, don't we, when we're doing making cards and using stencils. You just need to put a little bit of it here and there, and it's going to work. So that's the whole collection, and I'll just run through some of the stockists who've got this. Are the Art of Craft, and if you are here tonight, stockists, do feel free to put your links in the comments so that people can find your websites or come and visit your shops, even better. So also available at Into Craft. These people are clearly some of our premium stockists. They have all the collections available. Excuse me. So if they're local to you, please support them, and then they can keep providing you with all these good goodies. Also available from Craftmania. So if you're going to be at Craftmania on Saturday and you want to know a little bit more, we'll be there to help. And of course still available on Hobby Maker as well, so if you don't have access to anywhere else, you can still track them down on Hobby Maker, although I'm not sure how much stock they'll have left, but that might be worth a look if that's your only option. Alright, so what shall we do? Well, I'll tell you what I need to tell you about. Obviously on Saturday we've got the demo day at Craftmania. Jamie and myself will be there demonstrating all day, and hopefully to lots of you. I think it's running 10 till 3, it might be 10 till 4, I can't remember, but we'll be there. Kettle will be on, and there'll be lots and lots of inspiration, and of course you can shop till you drop. So can't wait for that, very excited. But also on Saturday, maybe more importantly, our lovely Francoise is going to be on Hobby Maker with her brand new collection, which is her celebration collection. I know Jamie's already done a sneak peek of this. Oh, thanks, Wendy. It's 10 till 4. I mean, it'll probably be 10 till 5 if I've got anything to do with it, because I just sit there all day just having a lovely time. So we won't kick you out. Yeah, so Francois' celebration collection from Woodware. Jamie's done the sneaky peek already. If you missed it, you can track back and find Monday's live, where he shows you through the collection. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's fun, it's bright, it's cute. It's just gorgeous. So Francoise is launching that live on Hobby Maker on Saturday at 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. So if you'd like to support Francoise and you want to see what she's been up to lately, that's the place to be. And they'll all be available exclusively on Hobby Maker for the day, apart from, because there's a demo day, Craftmania will have that collection available. So a real treat for shoppers there. Okie doke. So that's all my news, apart from to say that Jamie will be back on Monday with his live, and I'll be back to normal next Thursday as well. Not sure yet what I'll be doing, but there's something exciting. Alright, so I'm going to do a couple of quick demos for you now with this collection, hopefully just to wet your juices a little bit more. So let's go over to the other camera and we can get going on that. Alright, so when I first looked at this collection, I thought it lent itself to some quite relatively simple cards. I like the clean and simple style, but I find it quite hard to do, probably because I don't have much that suits it, like smaller little icons and things like that, and I just felt that this collection did. So here's the one I'm going to do first. I've done the technique of embossing with the die. I'm going to show it you again in case you haven't seen it, because it is one of those wows that you think, well, you never realised you could do it. Once you do, you'll be looking at all your dies in a completely different way. So I'm going to take the heart background, and this is the centre panel. I'm not using the outside cutting edge at all for this. And I'm going to put this onto my die cutting machine on the bottom platform. So the die goes next to that. And then I want a strip, just a strip, and there just happens to be a row of hearts down this edge that are all in line. So I'm going for that. So I'm going to put my card over that, and I'm going to line it up with the edge of the die just so I get it straight. Then I'm going to bring in my rubber mat for my spellbinders and my embossing mat for my spellbinders, and that is my sandwich. So that's going to go through my machine now. Just bear with me while I do that to the side. So when you do this, because the die is facing a rubber mat rather than a hard mat, it means that it can't cut. I mean, I say can't, it might a little bit, depending on the die, but I would recommend using a thick card. This is 300 GSM, so you know it's a good thick weight and it can take that extra pressure. But you can see how beautifully that has embossed and how deep. The back of it is lovely as well. So play around with the dies that you've got and see whether you can do this with them. You can do it with most dies, if not all dies. Obviously I haven't ever tried it with every single die in the world, but you know. So once I've done that, I've then cut this down to a strip just to get that row of hearts off that background. And then I've matted that onto some gold card and attached a bow cut from the beautiful ribbon selection which I had on Hobby Maker. So I'm just going to trim the ends down now that this is dry, because when you glue ribbon it does take a lot longer to dry than card does, because it doesn't absorb the glue quite the same. So I tend to leave it till it's dry and then tackle my tails after that. So there we are, that's a bit neater now. So I've got this border and I've got my card matted and layered in gold mirror and polar white. So I could put this down the middle this way. I could put it off to one side this way and put something else on here. But I decided on my original sample to use it sideways. I think I went that way. It doesn't really matter. So although the hearts are sideways, it still kind of works. You see that? But for this one, I'm going to do it vertically, and hence why the bow is at the top like that. It would look a bit funny otherwise, wouldn't it? So that's my first panel, and I'm going to stick that down. And what I've done is I've cut the white and the gold at the top and the bottom equal. So I've only got a gold border down the long sides of this. And I do that so that when I add it onto an already matted gold border, I can just line up the white, and then there's already a gold edge here. Can you see that? So I'm not trying to bring in another gold edge that wouldn't sit right. So I'm just going to make sure I've got that as straight as I can. There we go. And just let that dry. Okay. Now the next bits for this one are really simple. So I've die cut from the heart in gold mirror and just attach that to a white strip, and then I've got some little red hearts here which have all come from the Geo hearts, and so this is one of the freestanding hearts, and this is the smaller one, and then I've done the tiny one in red, and I'm just going to create a little row of hearts. So this one's going to sit pretty much in the middle. So let's get that stuck in place. So whilst I love the look of these clean and simple cards, they're not, I don't find them that easy always to do. It looks easy, now I'm putting it together because it's already been done, if you like. But actually making them work, I don't find that straightforward, so it's nice to challenge yourself and have a go at something a bit different, isn't it? And then I'm just going to create a little row of these in decreasing size. So there's that one, and I'm going to put the glue on here and add the heart to the glue rather than trying to do it the other way around. Oops, bit too much on there. Oops. Right. And there we go. So there's a little one just underneath the bow. I'm trying to line up the sort of the points through the three hearts so that it looks tidy. Okay, I'll do. And then I've got foam on either end of this because it's going over this bar that I've already put in place. If I was to glue it flat, it would be bowed, which might look nice. It's not my cup of tea, so I've created a bridge by adding foam on either side, and then I can just stretch that across the bar and it will actually then be flat, and that's it. So nice and simple, isn't it? But very pretty and clean looking, hopefully. So there we have it, the horizontal bar with the decreasing hearts that way, or the vertical bar with the decreasing hearts going vertically. So which one's your favourite? Pop it in the comments if you'd like. There we go. And then the next one I'm going to show you, if I can find it under all this. Do you know, I do get in a mess when I start. I don't know about you, I end up with stuff everywhere. Let me just find my stuff. I've buried it. Here we are. So this one's a little bit more elaborate. And I think that's what this, thank you Kim, thanks Pam. You see, it's dividing the audience. Yeah, this collection, I think this is what it's nice to show. It shows you the versatility of it, how you can go very simple but you can really go full on elaborate as well. It's personal taste, isn't it? And it's nice to have those options. So with this one I'm using the Geo hearts, the geometric hearts, the little hearts that come from that set, I've used the flourishes here as a negative. I've also brought in some ribbon, and I've also dry embossed with the heart stencil. Can you see that? So let's get started. Oh, hi Heather. Nice to have you with us. Oh, is it very, very early for you? I hope not. We do appreciate you joining us. It's lovely to have your company. Alright, so I've got lots of bits and pieces, but I want to start with this one. So I've already positioned my flourishes. I'm working on the basis of a 7x7 piece of card, so 7 inches by 7 inches. This is going to be my base layer, and this is going to allow me to build up everything else on top of it. I find that easier than having 3 separate strips, because this is 3 separate, or it would have been 3 separate strips, and trying to line them up would have been a nightmare. So I've actually started with a 7x7 inch square, and I'm going to make the different components and lay them on top of it so that I finish up with a square. I'm actually going to die cut it after I've done that, but that's another story. Alright, so I've started off with a 7-inch wide strip by, I think it was 2¼ inches, something like that. And I've laid my flourish dies into that the way I wanted them. 7 AM. Oh, you're brave. Alright, so that said, I was up at 5 this morning because the cat woke me up. Like they do. Paw to the face. You will pay me some attention. Alright, so there we are. We've got our flourishes, and as I say, what I actually want from this are the apertures that are left behind. So in a way, my flourish is a bonus. I can use that on something else, but I want this little aperture that it's left behind, this little window. I said about this, I always talk about this, that the aperture is as much a part of the die set as the dies are, but we often forget, don't we, to have a look at them and see if they're usable. A lot of times they are going to be. Okay, so what am I going to do with this now I've got these holes in my card? Well, our trusty double-sided adhesive sheets are going to come into play here. I am going to set this at the back of the flourishes, and then I'm going to put glitter through. So let me just release that. And I can pop this to the back, making sure I cover all of the flourish. Okay, and I'm going to actually press that down just to make sure that all the little delicate frondy bits are stuck. Alright, so there we are. So now I've got sticky area through the holes that the die made, and I'm going to bring in the ruby red glitter. This is the gemstones glitter, the loose glitter. This is the original, not from the Crafty Concoctions, but there's absolutely nothing to stop you mixing this with your Crafty Concoctions, of course. Have any of you played with that yet? It's absolutely fabulous. Right, so look at this, it's just lush, isn't it? So I like to sprinkle a little bit on and then get my finger in there and make sure I burnish that into every little crevice that there is in that die cut aperture. I find you get a much better adhesion if you actually press it down with your fingers and make sure you've covered every little spot. Okay, and then we'll just bring this up to the next one and do the same. Oh, it's a stunning colour this, isn't it? Beautiful. Can't get more romantic than a bright red. So give that a really good rub down, tap off the excess, just put that to one side. Okay, just pop it over there. Right, and then have a bit of a clean up. I tend to just use a brush, or sometimes I just get some kitchen paper, or even what do they call it? Like a tumble dryer sheet, an anti-static sheet. They work wonders for getting particles off. Okay. Now I've got a little bit stuck where my tape was holding the dye down. If that happens, you just need one of these. It's like a crepey rubber. You can see mine's well used. But it fetches off sticky bits when you've got them where you don't want them. It's a brilliant bit of kit, that. Wouldn't be without mine. Okay, so now we've got what was effectively the scrap in the aperture, and we've got beautiful sparkly flourishes now. Isn't that gorgeous? Well, that's exciting, Kim. Well, not that you've been to hospital, I hope you're okay, but the fact that Hazel's been playing with them. Ooh, I'll have to try and find that and see what she's done with them. That's exciting. It's nice that other crafters are getting the hands on these goodies as well, isn't it? Brilliant. Okay, so this is going to go across the middle of my piece of card. I don't know which way up I prefer it. Probably that way, I think. So it's going to go something like that. And at the top, I'm going to have another panel, but I want to dry emboss that with the stencil. Now, the first time I did this, I dry embossed this piece first, then I stuck the whole panel together, and then decided I was going to die cut it, so of course the hearts went flat. So I tried it again and put it through after I'd assembled it, and it still worked. In fact, it worked even better. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to glue this on. And give it a few minutes to dry. You don't really want to be squishing this through your die cutting machine when the glue's still wet. That's not usually the best way to go about it. So let's get this lined up at the top. So I've cut this to 7 inches as well, by 3 inches this piece was. So I know everything's going to fit. Now the beauty of this is, because I've got the double-sided adhesive on the back, I can use that to attach it with. So I'm just going to take the other side off the double-sided adhesive sheet, and then obviously I have to be a bit careful now to get this in the right spot. So just what I do is line up the edge before I drop it down, and then just lower it. So yes, there's a gap, but we're going to tackle that. We'll give that a good press. There's bits of glitter everywhere. Okay, and the bottom I'm leaving as is. So now what I want to do is work out how to use the stencil. So I'm going to go back to my embossing technique with just my platform from my die cutting machine. Okay, I've lost my stencil. That's not good, is it? Give me 1 second. So I've sized this. I already know that it's going to fit just about 3 rows of hearts at the top there. I'm going to put the ribbon across here, so I'd rather have a full heart at the top, and I don't mind a bit missing at the bottom where it's going to be covered up. So actually it would probably make more sense. No, I'll do it the way I had it. So I've got a full heart at the top. I'm also eyeballing the pattern at the side so it's equal. Actually, if I just line up these points on the heart with the cut line, it's going to make sure it's straight in tip. Now this has to be turned over the other way because I need the stencil to be on the bottom. So let's do that. and then bring back the rubber mat. I'll put it sideways this time because I only want to emboss down to there, and then my embossing mat. And this has got now 2 thicknesses of card to work through. So what happens is it's a bit harder to run it through the machine, but it gives a really lovely deep, excuse the bang, a really lovely deep impression. So if ever you feel when you're embossing with a stencil that you don't feel you've got enough depth, oh, it's gone another row down. Well, that's okay. Try doing it through 2 thicknesses and you will get a really deep one on the top. It's also debossed beautifully as well, so if you wanted to use the back, you could do. Alright, so that's the basis of the card done. So that was all easy peasy, wasn't it? Now I'm going to tackle the ribbon, and I'm just going to use some double-sided tape on the back, just on that cut line. That's where I'm going to put the ribbon. So I'm going to put the double-sided adhesive there, and see, I didn't turn it over because if I turn it over then I can't see it. So I'm doing it from the front and getting it in the right place there. So it's stuck to my nail. Not the best. Okay, let's cut ourselves some ribbon. So nice having ribbon back. I used to use ribbon a lot on my cards, but it kind of went away, didn't it, for a while? So it's lovely that we've got them coming back. So let's just take that off and stretch this along. So I'm lining up the satin edge of the ribbon with the cut line, so it's going to hide it. Okay, just tuck that round and stick it on the back, and then same on this side. But before I stick it, I'm going to line it up at the front and then do it like that. There we go. So now we've got a lovely ribbon divider, or a border, however you want to look at it. Let's just pop that to one side whilst I bring in the embellishments for this. So I have cut the geometric heart and lots of other little hearts from the geometric heart set. So let me show you which bits I've used. So out of this set, I've used the largest one of these with just its outside edge, so that's given me the solid heart. Then I've used the single cutting line from the slightly smaller size and cut that in a solid white. And then I've used the heart cutting edge. Sorry, I've dropped this on the floor. Can I reach it? No. There we go. So this one is using the solid edge and the inside fancy panel cut together. So that's going to make that the same size as that, and then I can stack these two together. And that's the first thing I'm going to do. So we'll glue this together and then we'll start to build the design. So I'm not going to try my fingers, sorry, I just want my fingers. So try and get these edges lined up neatly, and then just give that a minute or two to grab. And then I've cut this solid heart, which is this one here in the red, and I'm going to stack that on top of this white one. I like the idea of the red and white interchanging. And it's really easy because we've already got an inner heart shape there. In fact, you could cut that out and make an even smaller geometric heart. I only just spotted that then. And again, I think hearts are quite easy to line up, because if you line up the V at the top and the point at the bottom, you can't go far wrong. And the rest will sort of follow. Okay. And then I do have this on foam, so I'm just going to attach that to the red heart. And that's our main embellishment sorted. So again, pop it in the middle, line up the V and the point, and there we go. All right. Move that out of the way. So if I bring back my panel now, as I say, what I wanted to do was die cut this so that it had a nice edge. I've gone and stuck my ribbon on, so I can't do that now, which was a bit silly. But it's okay because all the edges line up. But I did feel when I'd done it the first time it needed neatening off. So do that before you stick your ribbon on. Yes. And then I'm going to stick this at a jaunty angle. Now, you might not like things at a jaunty angle, and that's absolutely fine. You can certainly set it directly in the centre like that, should you wish. Or you can have it at a jaunty angle going off at that side. I don't know why, but I liked it like that. So that's where I'm going to put it. So I'm going to bring some glue and just fix the heart. You could lift it again if you wanted to, if you like a lot of height on your cards. I didn't feel it was really necessary, so I'm just going down flat. And the good thing about this as well is it also helps to hold the ribbon where the glue sits across it. So at a bit of a jaunty angle like so. And then you can decide where you want your smaller hearts to go. I'm just going to scatter these randomly. So we'll have one up there, one there, one there. I might see if my pick up tool will work for these. So we'll have a bigger one there. I'll have a small one. Like that. Oops, stick down. And then a couple over here, smaller one and a medium one. So these little hearts, as you can see, are going to really come in for all sorts of embellishment purposes, and just sometimes filling up a little gap is all you need to do to finish a card off. There we go. So that's that. And then just tie a little bow. I'm just going to tie that by hand. I always like to manipulate the bow. I think I've shown you this before. Get my fingers in the loops, grab the tails with my thumb and third finger, and then you can adjust the ears and the tails until you get a proper little chocolate box bow like that. And then just trim the ends. Oops, I'm a bit sharp on that one. There we are. Okay, and then we can just attach that to the point of the heart there. Right, it takes a while to dry, does ribbon, so that might ping off in a minute, but that's where it's going to go. So you could add more embellishments to this if you wanted to. You could add some little crystals or some small white hearts. It's entirely up to you. And then what I've done is I've cut a panel using Jamie's Beautiful Nesting Dies, and this is the fluted edge. So, yeah, my bow's pinged off, thought it would. we can just attach that. You see, it needs to be cut down, that panel. So what I'll do, because luckily you can get this ribbon off with double-sided adhesive, so I'll peel the ribbon off, die cut my square, and then I can map that properly. So there you go. And then onto a white card. And there's the finished example. And then I've just added the From the Heart sentiment onto that bottom strip. And it just kind of balances across the card with the little bits of embellishments. And I think that sometimes we need to know sometimes how to compose a card. So that's an idea for you. Just keep an eye on the direction things are flowing in, if that makes sense. Alright, so that's me done for tonight, and I'll come back to you. Hello. So thank you, Angela, that's very kind. So that's our beautiful romance collection. As I say, do track it down at your stockist and go and create beautiful cards. So let me just refresh you about the dates of things coming up. So on Saturday, our lovely Françoise is on Hobby Maker at 1 PM and 5 PM with her new Celebrations collection. They're absolutely gorgeous. I just know you're going to fall in love with them. They're such fun, bright, fun cards for every occasion. So do tune in for that if you can. Also, Jamie and I are going to be at Craftmania on Saturday, demonstrating all day, 10 till 4. You're very welcome to come along and join in with that. We would love to see you. Wendy, I can't wait. And Sheila, thank you. And so I will bid you adieu. As always, please take care of yourselves and each other. And until next time, lots of love. Bye.